What is up, guys? It's Sky, and this is my guide on how to play Extraction. Now, I know I'm a couple months late on this guide, but I got caught up in some other projects, and I wanted to make sure that I made the right guide. Now, you can treat Extraction like Team Deathmatch, try to go 70-0, but this guide is going to cover how to consistently get MVP, most shipment defenses. I'm also going to touch on loadouts, effective hero play, and what to do if you're on a really bad team. Those games where all 7 of your teammates don't seem to realize that there's a big cart in the middle of the map. So without further ado, let's get right into it, and I'm going to start out with loadouts. In my opinion, you want one loadout for defending the cart and one loadout for killing heroes. Your cart defending loadout should include a personal shield and some form of scatter shot or cycler rifle, to deal with enemies using the shields around the objective. A neat off-the-cuff loadout idea is the ion grenade. If you upgrade it, it's on a 12-second cooldown, and it beats out the scatter gun in that department, which has a 25-second cooldown when upgraded. Basically, if you really have trouble getting a hang of the cycler rifle, you might want to give the ion grenade a shot. A hero killer loadout should include the pulse cannon and explosive shot. Dealing with heroes is a huge part of playing Extraction. A lot of times people just aren't running the right loadout, and then heroes can just tear it up. As for blasters, Extraction, or any objective game mode for that matter, are not really good modes for experimenting. If you want to be off the cuff and experiment, do it in Blast, but in Extraction you should run a gun that you know you can win gunfights with. And it's not always extremely close quarters, like for instance, that last hallway in Jabba's palace. You might want to run the A2AC, but you can change your blaster on the fly, so just run the right blaster for the situation. But for the most part, you should be looking at close quarters blasters. Because for me, I want to play near the cart, and in that situation, you're going to run into a lot of up close and personal gunfights. So for me, it's going to be the E11 or the SC14C. And as always, there's no accounting for taste when it comes to loadouts, so run what works best for you. So on to the meat of the guide, and that's how to be a good objective player in Extraction. And right off the bat, I don't claim to be the best player in the world, but I do consistently get high objective score, and that's what this guide's about. One of the biggest basics that you'll want to know is that initially the rebel teams get 5 minutes to make it to the first checkpoint. Making it to each checkpoint adds 5 more minutes to the timer. So if you roll to the first checkpoint in 3 minutes, you'll get 5 more minutes added, totaling 7 minutes to make it to the second checkpoint. This is important because that first checkpoint is almost a gimme for most circumstances. It can be real tempting to just give up on it if you're on the Imperial side, but it's worth it sometimes to try to hold up that cart as much as possible. However, it's often a lost cause, so push the objective, but don't rack up too many deaths doing it. And as you can see in the gameplay, I spawned in with my hero killer loadout, explosive shot, and pulse cannon. On the Imperial side, I'm always going to try to spawn in with the hero killer loadout. And inversely, on the Rebel side, I'm always going to spawn in the cart defense loadout to try to keep it moving to that first checkpoint as much as possible. In my opinion, the key to being a great objective player in Extraction is to get a lot of shipment defenses. A shipment defense is when you get a kill standing next to the cart. The player you kill doesn't necessarily have to be anywhere near the cart. Like for instance, you can be standing next to the cart and kill someone across the room, and it counts as a shipment defense. You can use the cart as cover, but remember, they can still shoot your feet from underneath the cart. In addition, it usually doesn't pay to just sit next to the cart the whole game, because obviously you're going to find that there's a lot of grenades coming your way. But you always want to be near the cart. There's always some kind of cover like this little underground tunnel near where the cart path is, so you can try to stay hidden most of the game and just pop out when you need to get a shipment defense or when you need to arm the cart. And if you think about it, it's kind of gimmicky. Like, just because you're like 10 feet away from the cart and killing people doesn't mean that you're not playing the objective. But of course, if you're all the way across the room or perched up in the hills somewhere, then obviously you're not playing the objective. But you may go 40-0, and your team may still lose because the point of Extraction is to either keep that cart moving or to stop that cart. Of course, there's always going to be those times when your team's just that much better than the enemy, and they're going to establish map control well beyond the cart. And in those situations, push out with your team and try to keep the enemy back. As long as the cart's not moving and there's no enemies near it, there's no reason to stand directly next to the cart. And the second key to being a great objective player in Extraction is always being the one to arm the cart. And if you're playing for shipment defenses, obviously you're always going to be really close to the cart, should your enemy arm it. You see in the gameplay here, my team makes this one last really nice stand before the rebels make it to the second checkpoint, And there's these little crates that provide great cover. A nice little head glitch that you can use to get some shipment defenses. Here I probably should have used my E11. I don't end up with the best KD in this game, but that's just the way it goes sometimes if you're playing the objective really hard. I might have been able to play a little bit smarter, but win, lose, or draw, I get that MVP. So moving on, heroes are a large part of the extraction metagame. The biggest thing is that the rebels need to try to conserve their heroes because they only get heroes for the first 2 checkpoints, and I'll touch on that later. And the other key is that the infantry should try to deal with the heroes as soon as possible. And it's tempting to kind of hide in the corner when the heroes come in because you want to save your kill death ratio. You're going to die to heroes a couple times. Just put on your hero killer loadout and do the best you can. But always remember, the objective comes first. In this gameplay, Luke Skywalker's wandering around somewhere, nowhere near the objective. Now, to be fair, his team wasn't doing any favors. And yeah, it is important for the rebels to conserve their hero, but at the end of the day, you gotta put the objective over that. Luke's gotta get in here and help them try to arm this cart. I can't tell you how many hero tokens I've squandered because my teammates weren't playing the objective. Even if you save that hero, if you don't make it to the first checkpoint, you're gonna lose the game. Basically, when it comes to heroes, you're gonna get 3 types of players. Most people will just run off somewhere and waste the hero token. Every once in a while, you'll get an amazing hero player that knows how to take advantage of all the hero's abilities. And those games are going to be tough, but like I said, put on your hero killer loadout, try to stick to cover as much as you can, and get damage on that hero and take him down as fast as you can. And the third situation is a hero that just kind of sits in the corner and doesn't really get anywhere near the objective, and that's fine. Just let him sit there. And in this particular gameplay, I read that Luke Skywalker's not going to play the objective. So our team just took advantage of that and stopped him before the first checkpoint. As I cut to some gameplay on the rebel side, and you see I spawned in with my Shipment Defender loadout, personal shield, back-to-bomb, cycler rifle. And I lose a gunfight that I normally win against who would become the opposing team's top player. Well played, Sergeant Brooks. But I was lucky enough to spawn back in to see the hero token stare me right in the face. So this is a nice little segue into the next part of the guide called How to Be an Effective Hero Player. The gameplay you see here is an ideal situation. I have a lot of competent teammates and they're all pushing the objective, keeping the cart moving. And really, heroes are best served playing a supporting role. Remember, you're a giant red dot on the minimap to the entire enemy team, so if you're standing right next to the cart, you'll probably get a lot of rocket launchers and thermal imploders coming your way. You should always be within armed reach of the objective. It puts pressure on the enemy team. They won't be as aggressive on the objective with the hero player there. But stay off to the side, under cover, and use all your OP abilities to get quick and easy kills, helping your team establish map control and conserving yourself for the most important part of being a hero character in Extraction, and that's dealing with enemy heroes. PSA, please don't be a little bitch and hide in the corner while your enemy hero tears up all your teammates. The biggest service you can do for your team as a hero player is to help take out the enemy hero player. And if that means ending your 50-0 kill streak to do it, then so be it. And if your rebel hero stays up long enough to take out the last imperial hero, well then your job is done. Might as well just call the game right then and there. But then there are those times when you're not blessed with the greatest team in the world. All 7 of your teammates didn't get the memo that there's a big objective in the middle of the map. And in this particular gameplay, I didn't really do my team any favors because I was trying to mess around with the DT-12 loadout unsuccessfully. There's going to be 2 degrees of really bad teammates. The worst case scenario is that your teammates can't eat for shit, and then the shipment will probably be stuck in the middle of the map somewhere. Your team will never be able to have enough map control. And the second case is that your teammates are not bad, but they always just seem to run by the cart without arming it. Then your skills really get put to the test. Just like with any team game, you have to pay attention to the minimap and be aware of your team's map control. Don't push up too far on your own. Here I'm watching this flank route, and I use the peeker's advantage, to get the leg up on that gunfight. The thing is, the flank route's not always the way to go. Sometimes you can just push up the middle. But either way, the name of the game is to push up with your teammates and try to stay in cover. And in this particular gameplay, it looked like I was the only one running a hero killer loadout, as I get the kill on Darth Vader here with the explosive shot. And a lot of times, when your team's having trouble establishing map control and extraction, you're gonna die. So try not to rage too much. As I cut to this clip of this really fancy combat roll, and anything that nice deserves a cycler rifle to their face. Sorry, buddy. And it's in games like this that arming the objective can get kinda dicey. When your team has shaky map control and sticking your neck out to arm the objective just gets you killed instantly. And that's probably one of the reasons that a lot of people just run by it, but just look at the minimap. I got teammates all around me, and this is a cycler rifle I usually hit, but I end up getting the arm, and you know, I get right back at it. And if you're aggressive enough, sometimes you can carry a mediocre team to victory. Now, unfortunately, we ended up losing this one. And could I have played better? Definitely. But at the end of the day, I played the objective hard. It's a team game after all, and I did the best I could. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on how to be a great extraction player. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.